So we are continuing our cryptocurrency where we left off in the previous part. Now here we will define an array in which we will store the balance of corresponding address in it. Like if you have an address particularly of a wallet and you contain 100 ether, so we will store that in it, but not ether, we will store our cryptocurrency balance in it. Like we will store the amount of cryptocurrency that a particular person holds corresponding to its address. So similar, when we use array in simple programming languages, using array, so we just simply call it as, if we want the value which is at index 1, then we simply write a1 like this, and this will return the value stored in it. Like if there is an array and it contains 1 2 3 and we want to get 2 value from this array, so we will just simply write a1 in it, and a1 will return 2, and that is true. Similarly, if we want to store address of a particular person in this array and want to get the balance of it, that is not possible in this array. So solidity has a keyword mapping in it. So mapping, generally what it does is, like we can define our own array according to our needs. Like if the mapping is defined by this keyword, and we can define mapping by our choices, that what we want to store in this mapping. Like we want to store address, and we want that when we call it from a particular address, then it must return the total number of coins that a person or we holds. So we will just correspond it with u in 256, because we want to input addresses and get u in 256 positive integer. So we will define mapping as mapping address equal to u in 256, and we will define it as public because we want that anybody can access this mapping, and we will just write it as balance of, because it will be returning balance of the cryptocurrency that the particular person holds, and we will just name it as this. Now in normal programming languages like in Java or JavaScript, when you initialize a JS file, then you also initialize with having a constructor. Like you set some value when you are starting that file, that it should be inputted in that file and that file should be run according to that. So that is called constructor. Because we are initializing our contract, then we will define some variable in the constructor, and we will define that variable when we will be launching our cryptocurrency. Like we can define constructor as this, and we will input uint 256 like positive integer, and we want that we will be inputting our total supply that we will be setting when we will be launching or deploying our cryptocurrency. So just name it as uint 256 total supply, just underscore, and the constructor is public, so no need to give it as public, and we will keep the balance of deployer. Like if you are the owner, then you will be deploying your own cryptocurrency, then you want that the total supply that you are inputting, you must hold that total supply so that you can transfer that amount to anyone, or you can launch a ICO. So simply what we will do is balance of, because balance of contains the supply that a particular address holds. So in case you are the deployer, then you must hold all the cryptocurrency. So that's why I wrote balance of. Now one more thing that I need you to understand. There is a public keyword in Solidity, msg. msg contains all the things that a user all the things. So there is a public variable in Solidity. So msg contains all the value that a user has, like it contains the address of the sender that is doing the transaction, it contains the value that a user is sending. Like if we are selling our cryptocurrency, then someone will be sending some amount to buy some cryptocurrency, then the smart contract will know that amount by msg keyword. So we will just msg.sender. So msg.sender, as I told you that msg is the public keyword, so msg sender simply tells us that who is doing the transaction, who is launching the smart contract or launching the cryptocurrency. So we will just simply write it as msg.sender and keep it as total supply. Now it is pretty much clear from this keyword, like msg.sender is the address of us, that when we are deploying cryptocurrency, so balance of our address contains the total supply of cryptocurrency. Amazing. So this, now we will deploy our contract as we have written till now and check that whether the things that we are written are working properly or is there any issue in that. So just click on compile and it will compile the smart contract, just showing a stupid warning, and leave that and just go to that. And as I told you that this is the address of us from which we are deploying. The remix ID gives us 10 addresses, and leave the rest of part, and this is the dev token that we are deploying. Now keep the total supply as 1 million. Okay, but wait a second, as I told you that we are keeping the decimal to be 18, so we will see all the things by dividing 18 and multiplying 18. So if we are transferring one token, then we are transferring 1 into 10 to power 18 because our decimal is 18. So just paste. Now I have inputted 18 decimal before 1 million that we wrote earlier. Now we will click on deploy, and it is deployed correctly. So now we will click on the get function and check whether the function are working properly or not. So we will click on decimals and it is showing us 18. We will click on name, the dev token, we will click on symbol, it is DEV. And I forgot to do one thing, like we also, when we are deploying our smart contract in a constructor, we also have to set the total supply. So we will just total supply as the amount that we inputted in our constructor. So we will just click on delete it and just deploy it again. Okay, I forgot to compile it, so just compile it, and we will just, we have done the required changes and we will deploy the smart contract again. So we will check by clicking on the get function. So it is showing the correct symbol DEV, and it is showing the total supply as 1 million, as we have kept 1 million, and also the decimal it is showing properly. You can also check by going to this website and showing correctly. It is showing the decimal as 18 as we have set in our smart contract. And if we will copy our address, this is the address that we used while deploying the smart contract, and we will click on this and we will check the balance. Then the balance of deployer, like we are the deployer, that the balance of deployer is 1 million while deploying the cryptocurrency. So it's cool. Yeah,